Hi, this is Praios, and today we talk about the harsh truth behind playing poker professionally. It's not a piece of cake like any one of you might assume. And in order to look into this topic, we will look into a video from Poker Bounty, and I will also give my commentary about the topic.
Some people in the poker community consistently advocate positivity, but any poker player who wants to make it big needs to be aware of a lot of harsh realities. Poker is not a game of sunshine and rainbows, and today we will discover some of the harsh facts of playing poker professionally. Instead of attempting to convince you to abandon your ambition, this video will help you to get ready for the future. Number 1. You will lose tons of money. No poker player ever wins every hand. People would stop playing you if you did. There are moments when it appears impossible for you to lose. You will, however, occasionally lose money, and by money I mean a lot of money.
Yeah, the thing is, in the long run, skill is king, but in the short run, luck is king, and basically everything can happen. I mean, I played a very bad dude once in a heads-up match on PLO 1K. Thanks God, but it was only PLO 1K. And I lost 50 stacks to a huge fish, which I expect to lose like 100 BP per 100 against me when the luck and bad luck is like evens out. So that was like the worst experience I ever had in terms of BBs. And yeah, this is like almost everyone will underestimate the huge swings that come with poker and the variance. So yeah, keep this in mind when you next time run that this probably is nothing compared to what happened to some of the pros out there.
In poker, losing streaks are inevitable. These streaks can occasionally last a long period. How you respond to and recover from these streaks will reveal a lot about your potential as a successful professional poker player. The best players find a way to bounce back, whereas the others lose interest or quit playing entirely. Number 2. You are not important to the poker room.
The thing is also, you are not, a lot of people are not quitting because of their own will, or because they wanted to, or they realized that they suck or are not good enough. They quit because they ran out of money. That's a very sad thing, but it happens to most of the people who try.
Even if you are a professional poker player, the poker room will not value you as highly as other players. In actuality, you won't be significant as many participants of poker games, because at the poker tables, the poker room cannot profit much from your presence. Poker rooms and casinos seldom profit from professional poker players outside of rake. Your loss of revenue won't have a significant impact on the casino or poker room's bottom line. Of course, the casino will go out of its way if your strategy includes flaws like betting on sports or playing the slots. Just take a look at how PokerStars have handled its best players in recent years. Due to rake increases, awards reduction, and a strong emphasis on recreational players, many professional poker players have departed the site. Simply said, pros aren't that significant to poker rooms and casinos. Number 3.
To be honest, pros, especially the ones at the very top, are very bad for the poker room, besides maybe advertising or stuff, because these guys have an enormous win rate and they take a lot of money out of the system. The poker room does not want you to take any money out of the system. I mean, there are even people who supposedly got banned because they win too much and took too much money out of the system. This was especially true back in the day, where you could still play very high limits, and then there were people who took tons and tons and tons of money out of it, and some even got banned. I also suspect that I got banned once because of that, and I had a friend who was only playing like short stake strategy all the time, and to him it happened way more than to me, in like 3 or 4 sites banned him. And yeah, the suspicion was that it was due to winning too much, because yeah, they say it's like a business decision, but yeah, in reality it probably was because he took too much money out of the system. What the poker sites want you to do is to play on a table with people who are at the same skill level, and they all should bleed out and lose to the rake.
Few people will.
By the way, this is all high stakes are also usually not that profitable for the site unless they take enormous rake like GG. And these games are losing proposition. They could be okayish if they also have advertising moments, or that people watch these a lot and this drives traffic to the site. But other than that, high stakes is usually not good for the site, because depositing usually comes with fees, and when people put huge amounts of money on a site and the rake is low, like on PokerStars, I think the maximum amount taken is $5. And if someone deposits like whatever 100k, and he needs to wager it a lot in order to make the money back, it costs it to deposit. I mean, if you use Skrill or something, it's like 3%, so they have to make 3k back.
Accept professional poker as a real job. It's likely that you have already come across folks who find it difficult to believe that you can support yourself by playing poker professionally. It will be a reoccurring theme.
Honestly, not many people do, and the professional poker players, most of them are not the guys you see on television. These are just normal dudes playing, grinding day in and day out, like you see on the screen, playing in many tables and make like 3k a month on average or something, so that they can pay for their cost of living, but not much more. It's not like everyone is making millions. Most are not.
In your life, so get accustomed to it. Even if you are successful, your non-poker world friends and family may not see poker as a real career. Most people will assume that you are really lucky and that things will...
Yeah, that's also my experience. My parents sometimes still say when I get a real job, and I'm on the top end, I'm one of the very huge owners, and I wonder what parents of guys say where they just make 2k a month or something. So yeah, it's definitely not as glorious, and also not widely accepted. I mean, it depends also on the country. I mean, my experience is that people from the UK usually are way more open-minded to professional gambling than people in Germany or Austria, for example.
Ultimately turn around. You could also experience issues getting loans or other forms of credit, among other aspects of your life.
You will not get any credit or any loans. I can guarantee that. If you are lucky, if they even give you a bank account, because often when you say you're a professional gambler, they say, bye-bye, we don't want you. So yeah, it's very hard, because nowadays also the regulations on KYC and AML are very hard, and they think you are a money launderer and not a professional gambler, and that you are just talking shit, and most banks will not accept you. Or when they find out, I mean, if you make up excuses and tell them something else, they often will kick you later. So yeah, this is the sad truth, unfortunately, about playing poker. You will run into a lot of trouble with your banking institute. Also, when huge amounts come in from some gambling sites, they will also ask a lot of questions, and you will... Sometimes it's even hard to provide evidence that you won this money, and you can run into trouble. It happened to me a lot. I mean, often, especially if you win your money in the casino, you're usually banned, and the site will not communicate to you anymore. So at best, make screenshots and stuff while you are still allowed to play, but you have evidence that it was won on site XYZ. And if you don't have that, the bank, you might run into real trouble with your bank.
There will always be queries or skepticisms, even if you have all the necessary documents demonstrating that you are a strong candidate. True. So, if you decide to get a job after 5 or so years of poker, that may be an issue. Few people understand the skill set required to be...
Yeah, I think it will be a huge issue, because if you have like a hole in your resume for how many years or ever you played professional poker, you will not be in good shape as the other applicants probably don't have that or look even more qualified. I mean, there are a few jobs where playing poker professionally might help you, like hedge fund manager or something, but that's about it. And mostly you will just have enormous trouble to get back in the normal market again. I mean, my last video was about poker players getting a real job. Check it out if you want to.
Successful at poker, so don't be shocked if future potential employers dismiss you as a degenerate gambler. Make sure you are ready to roll with the punches. Number 4. It is possible to play perfectly.
I mean, if you go the road of a professional gambler and do it for many years, you better make enough money to be able to pay for the rest of your life. If not, you might be in trouble because, yeah, it is hard to get a normal job later.
And still lose. The most frustrating aspect of poker is that you may play your best poker and still lose. When that continues over an extended length of time, players start to lose confidence in their skill and may become so irritated that they decide to stop playing poker indefinitely. To be able...
I mean, that's basically the same as point 1 he made. What was point 1 about? You will lose. Yeah, this is like, hey, it's you will lose again. Seems. Yeah, it's like basically the same point again. And yeah, the sad truth is you could be playing perfectly or very well and still lose over an extended amount of time. So be aware of that.
To face the madness that is poker, you must develop your mental fortitude. Poker players, especially professional poker players, must be psychologically robust. This isn't the job for you if, despite playing flawlessly, you still cannot accept.
By the way, the guys shown here, most of them are, some might be professional pros, but let's go again through this. So who is he showing? This guy is an idiot, but I think he probably made a ton of money, but didn't heard of him lately. With that, no idea. Yeah, that's Feldman again. So let's see, who was it? Yeah. All these former full tilt pros, some of them are now broke. I think Metasor probably
poker players,
not
especially professional.
Well. This guy, don't know the name of the Asian guy. Also didn't heard about him anymore. This guy, yeah, already talked about him.
Poker players must.
Ivy, also not a big fan of him. I mean, everyone is always saying that he's the best player ever, but I sort of disagree. I think he's not that great. Let me just make a few notes on that. I mean, it's quite suspicious. That's all I'm gonna say. That he was winning at an insane rate on his own, or sort of his own side, full tilt with like $100 per hand. And then full tilt closed down. He got to play on another side, PokerStars, for a bit, and he lost at the same rate, and then he never returned. So that's quite suspicious. Draw your own conclusions. The same is also, to a lesser degree, true for Patrick Antonius, by the way.
Psychologically robust. This isn't the job.
Also broke. Made a video about him too. Also, Gus Hansen.
Up for you if, despite playing flawlessly, you still cannot accept losing. Before we continue with this video,
I think there was also Victor Blom alias Isildur. He's also like an degen, so a degen gambler and not really a pro. I mean, he's always playing the best where he obviously is not the best. And when people stop playing him, he goes to a different game where he has no clue about and plays that which instead. And yeah, that's obviously not a winning proposition. Not sure how he's doing, but yeah, he's crazy. And yeah, I think he's probably also not having any bankroll management. So he's just a degen and not really good. I mean, he's a good player, but he is not table or seed selecting and playing the best always people who are usually better than him.
Give me 20 seconds to let you know that for a limited time, one of Blub the Spot's coaches, Jimmy Durade, is giving away his guide on how to crush your opponents in 3-bet pots for free. If you're serious about your poker game and want to develop an unfair advantage over your opponent's pre-flop and understand how pros really make their pre-flop decisions, I strongly recommend you check it out. The link is in the description. Number 5. You will not always be a pro poker player. Consider the world's best pro poker players. Most of them are probably not actually professional athletes. Most poker players who begin as professionals eventually diversify their revenue stream to provide variance-free income. There is nothing wrong with this. It's actually...
you have to constantly evolve and learn. For example, at first, common sense was enough to beat the game more or less and learn some basics like outs and odds, starting hand charts. And then the game evolved and you needed to make some analysis on your own. What was it called? I don't even remember what the name of the software was. There were softwares where you could put in your assumptions and see how everything plays out. Flopzilla, for example, was a tool. And then solvers came up and people need to constantly get better, get familiar with these tools and learn. And if you stop learning at some point, you will not be the best player anymore. Maybe you will not be even a pro anymore because you will lose anything to the guys who are evolving constantly. By the way, PLO Solver's links are in the description as well when you want to kick your game to the next level. That was my advertising break.
Very clever. Take advantage of the opportunity if you can invest in a company or accept sponsorships that will bring in extra money for you, independent of how well you do at the poker tables. You could even play poker more effectively as a result of it.
I doubt that, but playing poker will be more effective. But yeah, a lot of these guys are having other income streams as well. Some open poker sites, like Jane Enders, not poker sites, poker educational sites, like Jane Enders and Phil Galfond, for example. Where you can buy poker coachings. Some have YouTube channels. Some have both. The two mentioned before have YouTube channels as well. And yeah, and many also went into cryptocurrency. By the way, everything mentioned here, I will also have links below if you are interested in signing up.
If you pay close attention to poker pros that are in the game more than a few years, you will see that they have other interests in and outside of poker. Some have sponsorship deals with online poker rooms or casinos.
This is like not great of an example because this is like survivorship bias and a mistake often made, or like, I mean, how many of the pro players have sponsorship deals? 0.01% or something? And these are just the top players or people who make very well advertising for something. But anyone else basically is just grinding away. And yeah, not many people will have this income. And you also make a mistake if you just look at the best guys and think you can do it as well. This is just, or that you think it's so easy because you see all these successful poker players, but in reality, there are tons and tons and tons on every successful poker player who come on every successful poker player who failed. But you don't see these failures. They don't make videos. They are not in the media. They are not on social media. They are not on YouTube. And that's why you don't have an idea on how hard it actually is. So yeah, survivorship bias. Talking about survivorship bias, I also got a second channel about finances, crypto, and money. There's also one video about survivorship bias I made. If you are not familiar with the term, feel free to check it out. And yeah, if you in general want to make money, this is a good spot to start in. If you have other interests or things you want to do with your money other than poker. Okay, continuing.
Others are poker coaches or conduct poker training courses. A few are also invested in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies.
I mean, basically, many poker players I know are invested in cryptocurrency. I mean, cryptocurrency is also sort of gambling in my eyes, at least in many cases.
Some operate various businesses. Chances are that you will find other interests to give your life more stability.
Yeah, I mean, many have businesses, have created businesses. If they stay within their circle of competence, like the poker side, I guess often this has a good success rate, but if they do something else, they often fail miserably. At least that's my experience. Often I also had requests from other poker pros for funding for their companies, and I usually declined, and most of them also went broke. This is also the case. You see these successful companies, Google and stuff, and think, oh, I can do this as well. This is $1 million or $1 billion idea. But the reality is, you will overestimate your own skill and your own idea, and usually you will just fail. I mean, most companies get broke in the first 3 years, and even if you survive the first 3 years, you will not make a substantial amount of money most of the time, or fail later, or close down because it's not profitable enough, or you just make a hard living by being a company, and only like a very, very small percentage of people and firms will actually make it. And this is again like survivorship bias. You only see these very successful guys because nobody is ever reporting the other ones that fall through the system.
So in the end, you will not always be a poker pro, and that is okay. Number 6. Few are long-term profitable at poker tournaments. If you play poker tournaments, you could have fantasies about seeing the world and competing in the biggest games. Although this is a wonderful dream, the bulk of tournament poker players are lifetime losing players. To be profitable at
it's also very bad to look at like Holdem Mob. This is a database where you can see the lifetime winnings, because they only have the cashes in and not the buy-ins paid, and often this will be not ending good if you also take the buy-ins into account. Many people will be losers, even the ones on the top money list. But actually I think playing tournaments might be the best way to make money nowadays, because I think these are the most profitable. Still a lot of fish are entering, and tournaments are probably the way to make the best money nowadays, as cash games sort of died up, at least the higher stakes games. If you don't have very good connections like people as Tom Dorn or Ivy, where you get in good private games with the Asian fish and stuff, it will be very hard to make money in a cash game, at least substantial amounts, but it's making it worth it to become professional poker player compared to other careers.
Poker tournaments, you have to be consistently making final tables or banking big events. Wins are scarce and far between for many.
Another thing about these tournament pros is people always assume that they are infinite rich if they have like a cash of like 3 million or something. But the truth is, many of these guys can barely survive, and they sell tons of their action. They might just have like 10 or 20% of their own. So always keep this in mind when you see someone winning a huge tournament. And they might just, from the 2 millions they won, it might be the case that just 200k are going to them and the rest is going to their bakers.
Players. Even the top tournament competitors will have extended intervals in which they fail to even crack the top 3. Include the cost of travel and the buy-ins for all the events you bust without cashing in, and tournament poker can be a money pit. And lastly, number 7, have a backup plan. While this may sound like your parents talking,
I mean, I don't know why he's for tournaments only talking about live, because online you don't have these travel expenses, and these things run regularly, and these are still very profitable, at least to my information. I'm not a tournament player at all.
It is a good idea to have a backup plan for what to do if poker does not work out for you. If you're pursuing a college degree, continue doing so in order to have the best shot at a career after poker. For those that have other...
Actually, it's quite hard to, if you do several things at the same time, it's very hard to become good at 2 things. You will be probably mediocre at both. And not sure if that's the right path. But yeah, true. You are burning bridges behind you if you become a professional poker player, especially if you use this career path for several years. So keep that in mind and make sure that it's profitable enough to take this risk.
Interests outside of poker, continue pursuing them. Pursuing other interests may help augment your poker income while you're still playing and give you a lifeline after you're done with the game. This video is powered.
Okay, yeah. This was a good video. I liked it. I hope you also liked my commentary. Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, consider to also follow me on Twitch if you want to see me live and want to make some commentary in the chat like nobody did today. And I will usually answer all of your questions. And yeah, if it's on YouTube, like, subscribe, share, and don't forget to check out my second channel. And yeah, watch this video next if you... I'm not sure what the topic will be, as I will decide later which video I put in there. Bye bye, good luck at the tables, until next time.